Welcome to Unit 1 for Algebra 2. The first unit is all about parent functions. So 1A is recognize graphs of parent functions. So we're just going to give you the graphs and you get just recognize the graphs and the parent functions, the actual equations. And 1B is given the graph of the parent functions, identify the parent function, which is the equation. So you're just going to give me the equation. A is give the equation, draw the graph, and B is given the graph, identify the parent function. So a parent function, the simplest function of a family of functions that preserves the definition. So, or in the definition or shape of the entire family. So y equals x, that's a line. So anything that add, subtract, multiply, or divide to x, or any number, and it'll still be a line. Y equals x squared, that's as simple as a parabola is going to get when you draw this. If you add, subtract, multiply, divide by a number, you still get a parabola, just a different shape of the parabola, different width, or it's transformed. And the same thing with like square root. So let's get into it. The first one is quadratic function. Parent function is y equals x squared. So this is your equation. And the main coordinates are going to be -1, 1, 0, 0. So these are the coordinates you're going to want to remember. And 1, 1. So these are points -1, 1. And I want you to remember these because these will help draw the shape of the graph. So it's the key feature here. I'm going to say that it's U-shaped. Now if you do any kind of transformation on the quadratic, it could be an upside down U, it could be left to right, it could be narrower, wider, but for the parent function, it's just a U. It goes through 1, 1, -1, 1, 0, 0, 0. Moving on to the next one. Next parent function is cubic. Cubic function is y equals, the parent function is y equals x cubed. Main coordinates are -1, -1. That's down here at -1, -1. 0, 0 repeats quite a bit on parent functions. And the last one, you can probably already guess, is 1, 1. Key feature. A lot of people say this is like snake-like. So it starts down really low, curves over in the middle at 0, 0, and then goes up real quick again. So it is snake-like. When drawing these, the easiest way to draw them, start at 0, 0 in the middle and just curve down, and then start in the middle again and just curve quickly up through the points. So that's probably the easiest way to do it. Next, absolute value function. Parent function, y equals the absolute value. Those are absolute value bars of x. Main coordinates, -1, 1, 0, 0, and 1, 1. So we have -1, 1, 0, 0, and 1, 1. And this is V-shaped. Look at the absolute value. This is a key giveaway. That's actually not why it's shaped like a V, but it's a kind of a key thing. Its value, key feature is V-shaped. So if you think about absolute value, V for value, this is how I would remember what shape it is. You'll never be asked what the key feature is, but it's good to have that in your mind. The main thing is absolute value of the name, parent function, and knowing these coordinates. Next one, square root function. We have h of x, this is the same thing as y, equals the square root of x. Main coordinates, there's two of them, 0, 0, and 1, 1. So not all of them have 3. This one starts at 0, 0, and then 1, 1. There's another coordinate 4, 2, but we don't have to worry about that. If you get this and then you just curve it up over quickly. Key feature. As a starting point, starts at 0, 0. The parent function does. So it starts there and it curves over and it goes on forever and ever. All the other parent functions have both left and right. They keep continuing forever. Square root function has a starting point. Next one is cube root function. Y equals, the parent function is y equals the cube root. This little 3 here is important. That's a cube root. You just put it right in the little pocket here. Cube root of x. Key coordinates back to 3 points. -1, -1, 0, 0, and 1, 1. This is very similar to cube root or a cubic function, but the difference is this is a very shallow S, so it's a little more S-shaped. You can kind of think of it as similar to a square root function. At least the top part here is kind of similar to a square root function. The bottom part is just kind of a reflection twice of square root function. Moving on. Rational function. Parent function is y equals 1 over x. This is the general form. And the main coordinates for this. So there's 2 different parts to it. The main coordinates, -1, -1, and 1, 1. So -1, -1, and 1, 1. If you're asking yourself right now, how am I going to draw this? Well, there's this things called asymptotes. There's a vertical asymptote that runs right down the y-axis. And if you notice, the graph doesn't touch. I could draw a straight line. It does not touch the y-axis at all. There's an asymptote, and that's what an asymptote is. The graph cannot cross or go through that line. It's an imaginary line, so it cannot go through where y equals 0 or where x equals 0. And some people actually follow the asymptote and they look in the middle here and they have that as an extra point. So they look in between, right in between 1, 1 and -1, -1, and it's at 0, 0. So you could remember that point if you want. That's not needed. But key feature on this, I would say the asymptotes. And it's 2 parts. It's the only graph that has 2 parts to it. Next one, logarithmic function. Parent function is f of x equals log of x. Main coordinates, there's really only one. It's 1, 0. Now there's a key feature. There is an asymptote again. And an asymptote for this log function is right along the y-axis. So right along the y-axis, so the graph curves down and it just runs right along the y-axis. Doesn't actually ever get there, but it does continue. This graph does continue down forever and to the right forever. So how you draw this, from the point 1, 0, the next vertical line over is an asymptote. Another easy way to remember this, log function, if you spell log, the first 2 letters also look like numbers, 1, 0. So that's your key point, 1, 0. Exponential function is very similar to log function. Parent function is y equals I'm going to put E. E is a number, so think of it as a number to the x. E is used in banking quite a bit, so it is a number, just like pi is a number, E is a number. Main coordinate to remember, there's only one, 0, 1. There is a key feature, again, there's an asymptote. The asymptote runs right along the x-axis. So the graph comes down and just runs right above the x-axis. And if you look, just like we hope our bank accounts always look, it start out low, and then as time goes on, they go up quick, and faster and faster. Okay, that is our parent functions. Those are all the different types of functions we're going to be studying this year. Thank you.